The first epic trailer for the Captain Underpants movie just dropped, and as it's based on the best-selling book series, the movie looks like it'll be packed with Easter eggs and references to the original novels by Dave Pilkey. Yippee-ki-yay movie lovers, it's Jan here, and in this video I'll be revealing some cool Easter eggs and other interesting details you might have missed in the first full Captain Underpants movie trailer. So let's start with pranksters George and Harold, who are creating comics in a treehouse, where you'll see that in the middle of the floor is the brand name they use for their comics, Treehouse Comics Inc. There's also a Robo-Boogers Easter egg on one of the comic book covers we see in the treehouse. The Robo-Boogers are monsters which appear in the Bionic Booger Boy books of the Captain Underpants series, and as you might expect from their name, they are technological creations based on snot. And there's another hint to the Robo-Boogers later in the trailer via the Snotco sign on the building that Captain Underpants runs along. Okay, let's get to Captain Underpants himself, as the trailer reveals how George and Harold transform their mean Principal Krupp. George uses a hypno ring to hypnotize Krupp and make him think he's the Captain Underpants character from their comic books. This transformation is similar to the first Captain Underpants book, where George and Harold use a hypno ring to hypnotize Krupp when they want to recover a videotape the principal's using to blackmail them into performing chores for him. In the movie though, it looks like George and Harold use it to stop Krupp, putting them into separate classes. After Krupp's been hypnotised, George snaps his fingers, presumably because he thinks this will snap Krupp out of his state. However, the snap kicks off Krupp's transformation. In the books, whenever someone snaps their fingers, Krupp automatically turns into Captain Underpants. And in the trailer, after his transformation, he delivers his classic catchphrase, "Tra-la-la." Mr. Krupp, aka Captain Underpants, is voiced by actor Ed Helms, who was one of the stars of the Hangover movies. So I wonder if George and Harold's prank with the tiger could be a hint to the first Hangover movie, where Ed Helms sings a song about a tiger that appears as part of a prank in his hotel room in Las Vegas. While Captain Underpants is battling a giant inflatable ape, in the city skyline you can see a billboard for John's House of Toilets, a building which appears in part 2 of the Bionic Booger Boy books. In that story, Captain Underpants stands on the top of John's House of Toilets, where he performs the Underpants dance to annoy and bait the Robo-Boogers. Next up in the trailer, we get to meet Professor P, who stresses rather amusingly that he's not the evil villain of the story. Professor P's full name is Professor Pippy Pee-Pee Poopy Pants, and the character was introduced in the 4th Captain Underpants book. And if you feel like you recognise Professor P's voice from another recent animation, that's because it's Nick Kroll, the voice of the all-singing, all-dancing pig Gunter in the animated movie Sing. And Professor P is clearly controlling this giant toilet character, who is likely Turbo Toilet 2000, the leader of the talking toilets from the 2nd Captain Underpants book, Attack of the Talking Toilets. Talking of toilets, it looks like George and Harold played a prank on classmate Melvin while he's demonstrating some kind of toilet invention. Melvin's toilet invention is clearly going haywire, and this might be the prank which got George and Harold into so much trouble with Principal Krupp. Melvin is the nemesis of George and Harold in the Attack of the Talking Toilets book, where he invents the Patsy 2000, a photocopier that can convert any 2D image into a real object. And in this other shot, it looks like Melvin is teaming up with the nefarious Professor P. Interestingly, in Attack of the Talking Toilets, it was Melvin's Patsy 2000 invention which was responsible for the creation of the talking toilets. So I wonder if in this movie, Melvin and Professor P will be the ones responsible for creating Turbo Toilet. When Captain Underpants takes out 2 bank robbers at Frank's bank, it's a nod to the very first crime he stopped in the first novel, although in that book it's because the robbers couldn't stop laughing after he told them to surrender or he'd use wedgie power on them. And finally, did you spot the amusing store called Everything Except Fabric Softener, the store for all your non-fabric softening needs? Well, it's a location that appears in a number of the novels, and as the name suggests, it sells almost everything, but definitely not fabric softener. So what did you think of the first Captain Underpants trailer? And were there any other Easter eggs or interesting references you spotted? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, I really appreciate you hitting that like button, and why not subscribe for more Easter egg and animation videos? And you can also check out some more videos you might like right here. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!